Oh, I've been carrying a load so heavy, thought it would break this weary frame. Walking through valleys of silence, calling out your holy name. There were nights I could not sleep, Lord, tears falling where nobody could see, questions hanging in the darkness, wondering what was left of me. Every road seemed long and endless, every door appeared locked tight. I kept searching for an answer. In the middle of the night, my heart was bruised from disappointment, my spirit bent beneath the strain. But somewhere deep inside me, I still whispered your name. When my strength was almost gone, when I could barely stand, I felt your mercy reaching down. I felt your gentle hand. You are healing for the weary soul, hope when the world grows cold, light when the shadows gather round, peace when my fears take hold. You carried me through every storm, I've seen dreams fade before my eyes, watched plans fall apart like sand, tried to understand the reasons, but they slipped right through my hands. There were voices telling me surrender, there were doubts I couldn't hide. Still your promise kept on calling from somewhere deep inside. I walked through seasons of confusion, days that felt too hard to bear, but every time I thought of quitting, I found your presence waiting there. Not with thunder, not with shouting, not with signs across the sky, but with a quiet kind of comfort that helped me survive. You are healing for the weary soul, hope when the world grows cold, light when the shadows gather round, peace when my fears take hold. You carried me through every storm, through every hurt I've known. You are healing for the weary soul, and I know I'm not alone. There were friends who drifted away, promises left undone, moments when the road got lonely and I felt like the only one. I carried scars beneath my smile, stories I never told, battles fought in silent places, growing tired and growing old. But Lord, you saw every struggle, you counted every tear Sometimes I look back and wonder how I made it through those years, the disappointments and the heartaches, the loneliness and fears. Yet every chapter tells a story of a love that would not leave, a faithful hand still guiding me when I struggled to believe. You took my broken expectations and turned them into testimony. You took my deepest sorrow and gave new strength to me. What the enemy meant for darkness, what the world called defeat, you transformed into a blessing and placed it at my feet. I am standing here today, not because I've always been strong, not because I had the answers or knew where I belonged. I am standing by your mercy, I am breathing by your grace. Every step along this journey, I've been held in your embrace. There were mornings I woke up tired before the day had even begun, carrying burdens nobody noticed, fighting battles one by one, smiling when people asked how I was doing, hiding the ache behind my eyes, trying to keep moving forward while holding pain deep inside. I remember sitting in the silence, looking out at the falling rain, asking questions without answers, trying to understand the pain. Lord, I couldn't see tomorrow, I could barely face today, but somehow through the darkness you kept showing me the way. I didn't hear a mighty thunder, I didn't see a burning flame, but in the quiet of my weakness I felt your presence just the same. Your presence was in every note, every prayer I cried alone, every tear that touched the floor, every seed of faith I'd sown when my heart was barely beating home and strength was hard to find. Your presence was in every note, whispering, child, you're mine. I've known what it feels like waiting for answers that never came, watching doors remain unopened, calling on your holy name. came to life. Moments when I felt abandoned by the troubles of this life. But every disappointment taught me what success could never teach. Every valley drew me closer to the love within your reach. And though I didn't understand it, looking back I clearly see you were working through the struggle, even when I couldn't believe. Your presence was in every note, every prayer I cried alone, every tear that touched the floor, every seed of faith that's sown when my heart was barely beating whole and strength was hard to find. Your presence was in every note, whispering, child, you're mine. Some nights the memories return, like shadows dancing on the wall, reminding me of every failure, every time I'd taken a fall. The enemy tried convincing me that I was too far gone, that my story had no purpose, that my faith wasn't strong. But then I heard a deeper voice speaking peace into my soul, not condemning, not accusing, but making wounded pieces whole. It reminded me of mercy, it reminded me of grace, it reminded me that heaven still knew my name and face. When fear was shouting loudly and doubt filled up the room, your love became the melody that carried me through. Your presence was in every note, every prayer I cried alone, every tear that touched the floor, every seed of faith I'd sown when my heart was barely beating hope and strength was hard to find. Your presence was in every note, whispering, child, you're mine. I've seen people lose their courage, I've seen hearts grow cold with pain, I've seen storms that seemed endless pouring down like heavy rain. Yet somehow through the brokenness, through every shattered dream, your faithfulness kept flowing like an everlasting stream. Lord, you stayed when others left me, you remained when hope seemed gone. You kept lighting little candles that helped me keep holding on. And every step across this journey, every mile of weary road, you carried what was crushing me, you helped me bear the load. Now I stand here not as someone who has never known despair, but as a witness of your goodness and the way you answer prayer. Not always how I imagine, oh, I've seen trouble knock on my door more times than I can count. I've watched mountains rise before me, when there seemed no way around. I've carried burdens on my shoulders that felt too heavy for one man, and I've stood in places broken, trying hard to understand. There were days I walked through heartache with a smile upon my face, not because the pain was absent, but because I needed grace. There were nights the silence lingered like a shadow in my room, and I wondered if tomorrow would bring healing or more gloom. I remember praying softly when my words were running dry, looking toward the heavens with tears standing in my eyes. Lord, I didn't need a miracle to split the sky in two. I just needed reassurance that you were seeing me through. And in the middle of my weakness, when I felt I couldn't stand, I felt your mercy lift me up with your everlasting hand. This is a song for troubled hearts, for the weary and afraid, for the ones who keep on fighting though their strength begins to fade, for the souls that carry sorrow, for the tears nobody sees. This is a song for troubled hearts and the healing that you bring. Some people think that faith is easy when the road is smooth and bright, but faith is born in darker places when you keep believing through the night. It's holding on when hope feels distant, trusting when you cannot see, knowing God is still beside you, even in uncertainty. I watched dreams slip through my fingers, I watched plans just disappear. I've had moments filled with questions and seasons crowded by fear. Yet every time life knocked me down, every time my heart was torn, your grace became the reason that another day was born. You never promised there'd be no struggles, you never said there'd be no pain, but you promised you would walk with me through sunshine and through rain. And looking back across the years now, that's the truth I've clearly found. Your presence was my anchor whenever life pushed me around. This is a song for troubled hearts, for the weary and afraid, for the ones who keep on fighting though their strength begins to fade, for the souls that carry sorrow, for the tears nobody sees. This is a song for troubled hearts and the healing that you bring. There were moments I felt forgotten, moments I felt left behind, watching others move ahead of me while I struggled just to climb. The enemy would whisper lies, trying hard to steal my peace, saying nothing would get better, saying pain would never cease. But your voice was always stronger than the darkness in my mind. Your truth kept calling out to me when I thought hope was hard to find. You reminded Something started changing deep inside. Not the circumstances around me, but the way I viewed my life. I learned that peace isn't the absence of every storm that comes my way. It's knowing God remains beside me, and His love will always stay. When my faith felt weak and trembling, when my strength was almost gone, Your Spirit kept reminding me to keep holding on. This is a song for troubled hearts, for the weary and afraid, for the ones who keep on fighting, though their strength begins to fade, for the souls that carry sorrow, for the tears nobody sees. This is a song for troubled hearts and the healing that You bring. I've met people carrying burdens much heavier than my own, walking through impossible valleys, feeling completely alone. Some are grieving broken futures, some are mourning what they've lost, some are barely holding pieces after counting all the cost. And to every hurting person listening to this song today, I want you to know there's still light.
For a long time I was running, trying to outrun my fears, trying to silence all the questions that had followed me for years. Every morning brought new worries, every night brought new concerns. My heart was searching for an answer at every twist and turn. I carried dreams I couldn't reach and burdens I could not release. I chased solutions through the darkness, still I never found real peace. The world kept offering distractions, temporary ways to cope, but every road led back to emptiness, and every promise lost its hope. There were nights I stared at ceilings, listening to the clock tick slow, wondering where my life was headed, wondering what I didn't know. I looked strong on the outside, but inside I was worn thin, fighting battles in my spirit that nobody else had seen. Then I heard a quiet whisper breaking through the noise somehow, not condemning, not demanding, just saying, "Come to me now." You gave peace to my restless spirit, calm to my troubled mind, hope when I thought I'd lost it, grace when I fell behind. You spoke life into my weakness when fear had taken hold. You gave peace to my restless spirit and shelter for my soul. Life has a way of teaching lessons that no classroom ever can. Sometimes through disappointment,
Sometimes through shattered plans, I've known what it means to struggle. I've known what it means to wait. I've stood before closed doors for years, trying not to lose my faith. There were prayers that seemed unanswered, tears that seemed to fall in vain, moments when I wondered if tomorrow would only bring more pain. Oh, but looking back, I see your fingerprints across every winding road. Even when I couldn't feel you, you were helping bear the load. You were working behind the curtain, moving things I could not see, preparing blessings in the distance that would one day strengthen me. Though I wished for instant answers, though I begged for quicker change, you were teaching me to trust you through the mystery and pain. You gave peace to my restless spirit, calm to my troubled mind, hope when I thought I'd lost it, grace when I fell behind. You spoke life into my weakness when fear had taken hold. You gave peace to my restless spirit and shelter for my soul. Some people carry hidden sorrow, some carry silent regret. Some are haunted by decisions they haven't forgiven yet. Some are wrestling with uncertainty, wondering where they belong, trying to keep moving forward, trying to stay strong. Lord, you see every struggle, you hear every silent prayer. You know the weight we're carrying and the wounds we're trying to bear. Nothing catches you by surprise.
Nothing escapes your sight.
Nothing escapes your sight.
Nothing escapes your sight.
You walk beside the hurting through every lonely night, and that's what gives me courage when the future isn't clear. Knowing I don't walk this journey by myself down here. Your presence is my comfort, your promise is my guide, and every day I keep discovering you're always by my side. When anxiety surrounds me and uncertainty appears, your voice becomes my refuge, stronger than my fears. Oh, you gave peace to my restless spirit, calm to my troubled mind, hope
When I thought I had lost it,
grace when I fell behind. You spoke a life
into my weakness.
not possessions, not applause, not recognition. Only you,
Only you,
only you.
only you.
Lord, speak peace to the worried heart. Speak peace to the broken soul. Speak peace to the weary traveler. Speak peace to the one who feels alone. Speak peace. Every morning brought new worries, every night brought new concerns. My heart was searching for an answer at every twist and turn. I carried dreams I couldn't reach and burdens I could not release. I chased solutions through the darkness,
There was a season in my life when the road grew hard and long. Every step felt twice as heavy. Every day felt twice as wrong. The weight of years sat on my shoulders like a mountain I could not move. And I wondered if the dreams I carried had anything left to prove. I had prayed through countless evenings. I had cried through endless nights, searching for a sign from heaven, searching for a ray of light. My faith was hanging by a thread, Lord. My strength was fading fast, and I wasn't sure how much longer my weary heart could last. I kept showing up each morning, though I didn't understand why the answer seemed so distant, why life slipped through my hands. Yet deep within the silence, beneath the hurt and fear, something kept on whispering, "Child, I'm still right here." And though I could not see you, though I could not hear your voice, your love was gently leading me to make another choice. That's when heaven touched my heart in the middle of my pain. Not by taking every burden, not by stopping every rain, but by filling up the empty places where despair had played its part. I knew my life would never be the same when heaven touched my heart. I've seen people lose their courage. I've seen good men lose their way. I've seen tears fall in secret at the ending of the day. I've watched hopes become memories. I've watched plans fall apart. I've learned how disappointment can leave scars upon the heart. And I've carried my own failures like stones inside my soul, remembering mistakes and choices that took their heavy toll. There were moments filled with regret, moments I could not undo, moments when I wondered if your mercy still rang true. But grace has a way of finding the ones who think they're lost. Grace has a way of reaching the soul that's counted every cost. Grace doesn't wait for perfection. Grace doesn't demand applause. Grace simply meets the broken and reminds them who you are. That's when heaven touched my heart in the middle of my pain. Not by taking every burden, not by stopping every rain, but by filling up the empty places where despair had played its part. I knew my life would never be the same when heaven touched my heart. One night while sitting in the darkness, with my thoughts running wild, I remembered all the times you carried me since I was just a child. Not every prayer was answered the way I thought it should be, but every chapter of my story showed your faithfulness to me. You were there when doors were closing. You were there when dreams were gone. You were there
was not changing things for me. The greatest gift was your presence, walking every step beside me, turning every painful season into something that could guide me. Lord, you never promised easy, but you promised you would stay. And that's what made the difference every single day. That's when heaven touched my heart, in the middle of my pain. Not by taking every burden, not by stopping every rain. Oh, but by filling up the empty places where despair had played its part. I knew my life would never be the same when heaven touched my heart. Now when I meet another traveler carrying hidden fears, trying hard to keep moving through difficult years, I understand their struggle because I've walked that road myself. I've known what it means to be hurting while asking God for help. And I tell them there's a Savior who still listens when we pray, a Savior who sees every battle and every price we pay, a Savior whose compassion has never once grown weak, a Savior who still answers the hearts that truly seek.
I've seen seasons come and go, like the changing of the leaves. I've watched summers full of laughter turn to winters on my knees. I've stood beneath blue skies of blessing. I've walked through storms of doubt and pain. I've learned that life keeps changing, but my God remains the same. There were seasons filled with plenty, when every prayer seemed answered fast. And there were seasons of waiting that felt like they would forever last. Times when doors swung open freely, times when walls stood in my way. Yet through every shifting season, your love never changed. I remember nights of wondering if the morning would arrive, when my dreams seemed far behind me and hope struggled to survive. But somehow through the darkness, your hand kept leading me along, giving strength to keep on walking when I didn't feel strong. The years have taught me one great lesson, one truth that still remains. No matter what the season brings, your faithfulness never changes.
You are my strength for every every season,
my shelter in the storm,
my steady hand when life gets hard.
the place where I belong.
Through every valley, every mountain,
Through sunshine and through rain,
you are my strength.
for every season and forever, you remain. I've known what it means to lose things that I thought would always stay. I've watched cherished plans unravel and slowly drift away. I've carried disappointments like stones inside my chest, learning that surrender can sometimes be the greatest rest. The road has not been easy, and I won't pretend it was. There were tears that stained my pillow. There were questions left because some answers never found me. Some mysteries remain. Yet your presence gave me courage to trust beyond the pain. Looking back across the years now, I can see what I once missed. The times I thought you were silent were oftentimes you worked the most, preparing things beyond my vision, opening doors I couldn't see, teaching patience in the waiting and building stronger faith in me.
You are my strength for every season,
My shelter in the storm,
my steady hand when life gets hard.
the place where I belong. Oh,
Through every valley,
every mountain, through sunshine and through rain,
you are my strength.
for every season and forever, you'll remain. Oh, I've met people carrying burdens far heavier than my own, trying hard to stay courageous while feeling all alone. Some are grieving broken futures, some are mourning what they've lost, some are simply trying to survive, no matter what the cost. And to every weary traveler, walking through a difficult year, I want to share the truth I've learned through laughter and through tears. God doesn't leave his children
God doesn't leave,
when the road becomes unclear. He walks beside them faithfully and stays forever near. You may not see the answers, you may not understand, but there is still a loving Father holding everything in his hands. The same God who carried yesterday will carry tomorrow too. And every season of your life, he'll faithfully walk through. Oh, when the winds of life are blowing and the future feels unknown, your promises remind me I'm never walking alone. You are my strength
for every season,
my shelter in the storm,
my steady hand when life gets hard.
the place where I belong. Through every valley,
Every mountain,
through sunshine and through rain. Hey.
remember walking through a season when the shadows filled my days. Every road seemed full of questions, every step a different maze. The weight of disappointment had settled deep upon my soul, and every dream I once imagined seemed impossible to hold. The laughter had grown quieter,
The nights had grown so long,
I kept trying to find my footing,
but everything felt wrong.
there were prayers without an answer,
There were tears nobody knew,
there were battles in the darkness
that only heaven could pull me through.
I carry worries like a suitcase,
Filled with things I couldn't change,
trying hard to make sense.
of circumstance so strange.
But the harder I kept fighting,
The more exhausted I became,
until I finally surrendered.
and called upon your name.
And that's when something shifted, not around me but within. The moment I invited you to enter once again. Worship changes atmospheres, it changes hearts and minds, it brings light into the darkness. When hope is hard to find, when God's presence fills the room,
Fear can no longer stay,
worship changes atmosphere.
makes a brand new way.
Whoa. The problems didn't disappear, the mountains didn't instantly move, but suddenly I felt a peace that gave me strength to continue. The storm was still around me,
Yet something had changed inside.
because I knew I wasn't facing it.
Without you by my side,
I've learned that true revival,
doesn't always start with crowds.
sometimes it starts in quiet places.
When a weary soul bows down,
Sometimes it starts with surrender,
sometimes it starts with tears.
sometimes it starts with trusting God.
In the middle of your fear,
And every time I lift my voice,
even when my strength feels small,
something powerful begins to happen.
beyond these earthly walls,
Chains of worry start loosening,
heavy burdens lose their hold,
because worship has a way
of restoring tired souls.
oh, worship changes atmospheres, it changes hearts and minds, it brings light into the darkness. When hope is hard to find, when God's presence fills the room,
Fear can no longer stay,
worship changes atmosphere.
makes a brand new way.
Oh, I've seen broken people smiling after years of silent pain. I've seen hopeless situations touched by heaven once again. I've seen discouraged hearts find courage.
I've seen faith begin to rise,
I've seen peace replace confusion,
right before my eyes.
not because of human power,
Not because of clever words,
but but because the Spirit moves.
Whenever worship is heard,
God still meets His children,
in places filled with praise,
and His presence still transforms us.
in remarkable ways.
The world may call it foolish,
The world may not understand,
but I've witnessed too much goodness.
to deny His mighty hand.
I've watched Him turn despair to hope.
I've watched Him lift the weak,
I've watched Him answer prayers.
for those willing to see.
Oh, every time I tell my story,
Every time I sing His name,
I remember all the moments
when His power brought a change.
worship changes atmospheres. It changes hearts and minds. It brings light into the darkness. When hope is hard to find, when God's presence fills the room,
Fear can no longer stay,
worship changes atmospheres.
makes a brand new way.
Whoa. Mm. There were days I felt surrounded by uncertainty and fear. Moments when tomorrow didn't seem very clear. Yet somehow through the confusion,
I kept hearing heaven say,
keep your eyes upon me.
and trust me one more day.
So I kept singing through the struggle.
I kept praising through the pain,
I kept believing God was working.
though I couldn't explain.
And little by little the darkness,
Started losing all its power,
as God's peace began to blossom,
like a long-awaited flower.
I discovered worship isn't.
Something we do only when life is good,
Sometimes worship becomes our weapon.
when we're misunderstood.
There was a time when my heart felt broken in ways words could never explain. I carried silent disappointments and years of unspoken pain. People saw me standing upright. They saw a smile upon my face, but they couldn't see the struggle or my desperate need for grace. I learned how to hide my sorrow, learned how to keep moving on, even when my spirit felt weary and the night seemed twice as long. There were wounds beneath the surface that refused to disappear, memories that still haunted me year after difficult year. Some hurts don't leave quickly, some scars take time to heal, some burdens grow so heavy you forget how hope can feel. And there were moments I wondered if joy would ever return, or if life would simply continue with more lessons left to learn. Then somewhere in the silence, when I thought I had no song, I felt heaven gently whisper, "You've been loved all along." God's comfort came through the music, like rain upon dry ground. When my soul was tired and wounded, His mercy came around. Every note became a reminder that I was never alone. God's comfort came through the music and led my heart back home. I remember sitting quietly as the evening shadows fell, listening to a simple melody that seemed to know me well. It wasn't just the instruments, it wasn't just the sound, it was something deeper moving when God's presence came around. The song spoke to my weakness,
The song spoke to my fears.
the song spoke to my fears
The song reached hidden places
that had been hurting for years. It reminded me of promises that I had almost forgotten. It reminded me that God still works in hearts that feel worn out. And as the music kept flowing, something started changing deep inside. The weight I'd carried for so long began to slowly lose its size. Not because all my problems vanished, not because life suddenly became easy, but because God's love was healing the places that needed mercy. Yeah.
God's comfort came through the music,
Like rain upon
dry ground.
when my soul was tired and wounded.
When my soul was tired and wounded,
His mercy
came around.
every note became a reminder,
Every note became
a reminder
a reminder
that I was never alone. God's comfort came through the music, and led my heart
back home.
I met people carrying grief that words could never ease. People searching for some comfort while down on trembling knees. People trying to stay hopeful though life had knocked them down. People wondering if tomorrow would turn things back around. And I wish they could discover what God has shown to me, that healing isn't always instant. Sometimes it grows gradually, like a sunrise after darkness, like a river finding course, like a seed pushing through the soil, touched by a greater force. God knows every hidden burden, every tear you've cried alone, every disappointment lingering deep inside your soul. And He has ways of reaching hearts that no person can explain, bringing comfort to the hurting and strength to rise again. When words can no longer help us, when answers are hard to find, God often sends His comfort
my soul was tired and wounded, His mercy came.